On today's show, the rumors are flying all around the NBA right now. Our good friend of the pod, Jake Fisher, dropped a intel report from all the teams in the NBA. Ben Simmons stuff, Jeremy Grant stuff. There's all kinds of trade rumors. And the Dallas Mavericks were linked to several players we'll get to on today's show.
Love you, Jake.
We'll talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can subscribe and get us to 10K subs. We're getting real close there. Thanks to everybody that has subscribed. Like our video, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know. Let us know where you're listening, watching this from right now. Let us know. Let us know. Country check in the comments right there. Joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com, the trade titan, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much from all content creators out there in the NBA world, people who do, daily podcast, from all the blogs out there. Speaking on behalf of all NBA content creators out there, a public thank you to Jake Fisher for providing all of us content forever. I love when he does that. Like, give me the notebook. Let's just go around the league, give you bits and pieces on every team. I enjoy that instead of some fluff of, all right, I got an update on Ben Simmons and Philly. He met with management and same thing. It's like, okay, well, cool.
They're no closer, and neither is he. He's no closer to coming back. They're no closer to trading him. And you're like, come on, Woj. Come on.
Like, this isn't even an update.
Yeah. I as a consumer and as a creator myself, I much prefer the Jake Fisher inside pass Shams Charania piece that they put out, where it is all there written for me. But yeah, we'll get into that. We'll talk about all the rumors. Lots of stuff for the Dallas Mavericks mentioned in that. Quickly though, let's talk about.
By the way,
let's talk easy. Well, let's talk about the All-Star voting. The All-Star voting second round came out, and Isaac Harris, our guy, Luka Doncic.
we got to get to voting, people.
Do we? This is the big question we have to make. Luka Doncic is no longer number one, or he's no longer even in the starting spot for the fan vote. Now, fan vote only counts for 50% of what actually matters for NBA All-Star starting. So just because he doesn't get the fan vote doesn't mean he won't start in the All-Star game. 50%, the other 50% comes from half media and half players get the vote. So, but Ja Morant, man, surged ahead of him in this second round of voting. Kristaps Porzingis still is not on the Western Conference front court, which doesn't
vote for Kristaps Porzingis too.
The problem is Kristaps hasn't played since the last time that All-Star voting came out. He is still out with health and safety protocols. He'll be out. He'll be out on Friday as well. If you're watching this on Friday, he's going to be out. That's his his seventh game that he's missed. He's been out for 2 weeks now in health and safety protocols. So, cool. Great that they limited the time you have to be in health and safety protocols to 5 games. Good job, NBA. Didn't work for KP. KP's still out. But Luka Doncic moves into second in the Western Conference, and I didn't see any outrage from Mavs fans. I saw all just, yep, Ja Morant deserves it, and he's in the spot now, and his team is killing it, and he's leading the pack, and good for him. That's all I saw from Mavs fans today.
Because he does deserve it. I mean, when that first round of votes came out, I was like, okay, I still think Luka's going to get this. Like, the votes, the stats, I think Dallas will stay in that 5 to 6 range. I was expecting some type of fall off from Memphis. That just isn't happening. They've won 10 games in a row. Like, they just passed.
Have they lost since the first time the fan voting came out?
I don't know.
I don't think they have.
But here's the thing. They just passed Utah in the standings. They're third in the West now. So, like, now they've moved themselves up into that elite status in the West. And this is the first time that I think Luka has a very tough it's a very tough position for him right now, for him to start over Ja. And no matter if he does pass him in votes and stuff, I still think, there's a good chance Ja gets, the player and media vote.
Now, I don't know if starting matters for Luka. I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter for me. I'm not sure it matters to fans either. Maybe it does. They just want him to play well so that he earns that starting spot. But you just get the All-Star berth and you just get the All-Star selection, and it says All-Star in your career the rest of the time. It doesn't say All-Star starter, All-Star bench. So not sure that matters too much, but it is interesting to see Ja Morant surging ahead of him, and here we are with it. But let's get into some of the rumors and things that came out. There was an actual trade that happened quickly. We'll touch on this. Cam Reddish traded to the New York Knicks for a first round pick from the Charlotte Hornets that's top 18 protected, and then the protections kind of change until it becomes 2 second-round picks, and then also Kevin Knox goes back to the Hawks. So what the Hawks did is they opened up a roster spot, they got a pick back, and they got a little trade exception. The Knicks got Cam Reddish. They got off of Kevin Knox, I guess. And then now they have this Cam Reddish player to try and figure out if he's worth all of the all the hubbub that Atlanta Hawks fans talked about with him when he was put in the Luka Doncic trade.
Here's the thing. I just thought I thought I read something wrong when this trade happened, because I feel like for so long, especially over the past year, ever since that playoff series, we've heard so much crap about how good Cam Reddish and how, oh my gosh, we got Trey and Cam, like we won this trade. It's like, well, congrats, you just turned Cam Reddish into Kevin Knox and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, so like I don't understand. I guess I bought into some of the like hype of like, okay, well, if they do trade him, man, they're gonna get like pretty dang good value back, and he's gonna be like the young piece in a bigger deal to get him a Brad Beal or something like that. And I was just kind of surprised by the value coming back from it, because of how much I feel like we've kind of heard of, oh, Cam, man, he's this like kind of rising young player and he just needs opportunity type thing. So I mean, he might be really good in New York, and I hope he is. It's nothing against him. It's just what I feel like I fell victim to the hype,
Well, and he goes into Milwaukee in the playoffs. He doesn't play any games, and then he comes back and he hits those 6 threes against Milwaukee in that game. What was it? I guess that was game 6 for them, and the game that they got closed out on. So yeah, I mean that was a big hype game for him on a national stage and all that. So you start seeing that, and you're like, oh, he's this rising guy. But yeah, he ends up getting traded. And the thing for the Hawks, I understand this trade on both sides, because I understand for the Hawks, they shopped Cam Reddish for a while. He was available in trades for a long time. We heard him in rumors for a while now. And they shopped him around, and they tried to figure out, okay, is anybody interested in this guy? Can we put him in as a sweetener, like you said, for a Bradley Beal type trade or somebody else for a bigger piece? Can we sweeten the deal with this smaller contract of Cam Reddish that has some tantalizing potential? Turns out to not be the case. And so then they decide, well, let's just get the asset of the first round pick that we can then use that as a sweetener, which is probably sweeter to a lot of teams than a player that's already in the NBA. We've seen him a little bit, maybe something like probably half the front offices are already out on him, maybe more or less, already have an opinion on him. Let's give them the chance to make their pick with an actual draft pick. So
that's not a good pick, right? It's top 18, right?
Top 18 protected, but I mean,
that pick in the 20s.
I mean, you know what draft picks are, though. They're new cars, and as soon as they're off the lot, they're used cars. Cam Reddish is a used car right now. So
especially if a team gets it and they've been like scouting a player playing down the street from them, and they could get that guy.
So there you go. All right, that's the trade that happened. Can the Mavericks get in on the John Collins situation? Are there more trades to be happening?
Let's stay with Atlanta on this.
Atlanta has more moves to make, I think. This is very much a table-setting move for the Hawks. So coming up, let's get into that. Let's start with the Atlanta angle of the Jake Fisher piece about the Dallas Mavericks with John Collins mentioned. We'll talk about all that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about betonline.ag. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet, to put down some money on sports. And win some money too. We talk about putting down your money, but the idea is that you win money. So go check it out. BetOnline.ag. Use the promo code LOCKEDON to get a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Let's check in on some of our Cowboys still a 3-point favorite against the 49ers. Bengals still a 5-point favorite against the Raiders. Bills still a 4-point favorite over the Patriots. That seems wild. At the beginning of the season, the Bills were supposed to be this really great team, and they just haven't really produced that. Bucks 8.5-point favorite over the Eagles. Come on, the Bucks are going to beat the Eagles by more than 8.5 points, right?
Yeah, they are.
So go ahead if you feel that strongly about that one. Go put some money down on them. Hopefully you win some. Let us know if you win some from BetOnline. Tweet us. Let us know in the YouTube comments and BetOnline where the game starts. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into this piece from Jake Fisher. Lots of stuff on Ben Simmons, but lots of stuff on the Dallas Mavericks. The first one here, John Collins has a lot of fans around the league. San Antonio and Dallas have frequently been linked as suitors for some time on John Collins. Isaac, why are the Mavs interested in John Collins, and do you see it as a fit?
Well, I mean, he's shooting 44% from three, 17 points a game, 8 rebounds, and you're talking about a guy who can run a pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and pop with Luka. That's the fit. This is no slight to Dwight, but
I was gonna say this is Dwight Powell that can shoot the ball really well and do pretty much everything else better.
That was the voice of Nick Angstadt. Nick said
it was me.
If you're not watching on YouTube, I did not say that. I would never say something like that. So he's the better version of Dwight Powell, and that's the role, right? I mean, There you go. There you go. Super athletic, super bouncy.
Also 6'9".
Nice. The lobs that Luka would throw to John Collins would be absolutely nasty. So, yeah, he would fit in Dallas. Like, there's no doubt about that. And I think he fit next to KP.
You could figure out a way for him and KP to play next to each other as well. You could start talking about, okay, well, in the playoffs against certain matchups, yeah, you could do that about lots of players. But yeah, John Collins would absolutely be a fit. The Mavericks and the Spurs as suitors next to for John Collins is interesting.
I do want to say this. I would worry a little bit about his issues in Atlanta. How would it be different in Dallas as far as like shots? How many shots is he wanting? Because right now, I don't know if y'all know this, but we have two guys that like shots, and Luka and KP. I don't know what that package would be to get a John Collins because, they already have Trey, obviously. So I don't think they're trying to, package or, pair up Trey and Jalen Brunson. I just don't know what that looked like, but that's my only thing. I'd be like, okay, what's the difference,
Yeah, I'm not sure the Mavericks have a deal that really makes sense or stands out as one like, oh, this is an obvious deal. We do see deals all the time that don't make sense. Where we're like, how, why, how did they get this guy? I mean, we even thought the Porzingis deal didn't really make a whole lot of sense when it first happened. So, but yeah, with John Collins, he would fit. He hits the three. He's also a guy that just tries real hard. It's another one of those Dwight Powell type comparisons where he tries hard. He's a guy that gives a crap. He's out there. He's running hard. He's doing a lot of that stuff. And so I think that he could fit with the culture of this Mavericks team as well. I'm not sure how the shots would work out and all that kind of stuff, but he would get a lot of open threes. He'd be taking more than 3 open threes a game. I would tell you that.
Highlights, man. Like we would legit have some nasty highlights, a dunker, all of that. Now, I'll say this with the Atlanta piece of Fisher's report. John Collins was not the name that I got kind of excited about. Okay, it was that one little sentence there about Deandre Hunter. Fisher says there was also a belief among rival front offices that the Hawks would be willing to part with Deandre Hunter to bring a significant veteran contributor to Atlanta. I love Deandre Hunter. So I don't know what that significant veteran type of player is, but huge fan of Deandre Hunter.
Oh, absolutely. He's like the defensive wing that you really want that can do a little bit more, right? We saw him play against Luka in that first game in this season where we're like, oh man, is he a guy that can actually shut down Luka? And he did a pretty good job. He can also step out and shoot the three a little bit. He can do a little bit off the dribble. Like, he's just a guy that does a lot of different things, and he'd be great. He'd be great on this team. The problem is, again, who do you send for him? This is not like, a team that you would send Brunson to. Would you want to even send Brunson to them? But yeah, he's a very interesting name on the market right now.
Yeah, for sure. So is there another team that stood out to you? I mean, there's so many different Mavs references in this, but
yeah, there's some more. So we've been talking about Myles Turner a lot recently. Myles Turner appears to be the likeliest Indiana Pacers player to be traded before the deadline, with a list of suitors that includes the Mavericks, Minnesota, New York, Sacramento, Charlotte, Portland, and also Toronto as well. That's a lot of teams linked to Myles Turner. The Charlotte one stands out to me a lot. That seems to be the favorite as far as NBA media people. That really makes a lot of sense. They need a center badly.
Yeah, and in Minnesota, like, I guess
sort of weird.
You want to pair them together, cool. I mean, New York, I guess, we've talked about the Dallas fit a lot. The thing that surprised me a little bit, or like at least raised my eyebrows on, was that last sentence in that Fisher paragraph. Once again, you can find this on Bleacher Report. It says the Pacers' asking price is said to include multiple first-round picks. Love you, Myles, but not for 2 firsts.
Yeah, I don't think he's a player for 2 firsts. However, we did get Robert Covington for 2 firsts last year. So if you get in a bidding war with anybody, this he seems like a guy that could end up being in a bidding war with all these teams trying to get him. But is Sacramento with Richaun Holmes? Are they getting that desperate to where they're in a bidding war for Myles Turner? I don't think so. New York, they already have Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel. Like, are they that desperate? Like, yes, Myles Turner is better than those guys, but are they that desperate to try and get somebody like that? Minnesota, we mentioned Portland. They're not going to have Damian Lillard for a while now. Their season seems to be over already. Are they going to be in that desperate to try and trade for him?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
You also
Toronto and Charlotte are the 2 teams that really stand out to me as, maybe they could get in there and start a bidding war.
Charlotte for sure. I think that's a natural marriage there. But you also don't know what Indiana wants, though. Like,
well, they want 2 firsts.
like, okay, yes, but as far as like roster stuff, they have Sabonis. Okay, well, you're trading for another big. Well, why don't you just keep Myles Turner? Are you trading for a point guard? Well, they have Brogdon. So I think if they made some other deals, then it kind of makes sense. But are they looking for more wings? Are they looking, are they going to try to offload Brogdon at some point? So then like a Brunson type would make sense for them. I just don't know what they want and what Rick wants. Actually, I know what Rick wants, but
yeah, right. Toronto has all their picks. Charlotte is in a position where they have to send one to Atlanta, and so they're kind of tapped out with picks for a little while here, first round picks at least. So that's an interesting thing to monitor as far as the Myles Turner situation goes. Who knows? But would you rather have Myles Turner or John Collins? Think about what the price is going to be and everything.
It's a good question. I think I would go with John Collins.
Myles Turner makes half of what he does.
Yeah, I'm not. That's tough, man.
It's tough because the contract, what they actually like, the position they actually play. I may go with Myles Turner in this one.
Here's the deal. I think, and I could just be. I mean, you're talking to somebody who just said that I was totally off base on the Cam Reddish thing, so I could be really off on this. I feel like there would be a way possibly that Dallas could get Myles Turner without giving up one of their 3 of, Luka, KP, Brunson. And I would be much more open to get Myles Turner if that was the case. I don't think you can get, like, if you're getting John Collins, like 1 or 2 of, KP and Brunson are in that deal going somewhere.
The value is higher and the contract is higher. So you have to send more out to go get him. And so, yeah, That makes sense. That factors into I would take Turner over John Collins too. As players, I would probably take John Collins, just higher talent. You can see him fit with Luka really well, all that. But
also shout out to Atlanta and the the money they spent in free agency that a lot of Mavs fans got upset that Dallas didn't spend that money, and now they're shopping the same players that they spent all the money on, Gallo and some of these contracts. But hey, you know what? Let's be mad at the Mavs for not signing those players.
And they have a worse record than the Mavericks.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. A name we haven't talked about a lot is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is listed as definitely going to be traded, I think. John Corrales, Locked on Celtics, has been talking about Schroeder as a player that is definitely going to be traded for a while now. He's been talking about him as a name. It's like they're not going to pay him. They don't want to go in the luxury tax just to get, just to bring back Dennis Schroeder. He's on that weird 1-year deal because he didn't sign that extension with the Lakers, and so then he had to go out and find his own money. He couldn't find his own money. He ended up being one of the last players in free agency. The Celtics picked him up for like nothing. He's making like $5 million or something like that. And so the teams listed to him are New York, the Knicks, Cleveland, and then Dallas is a team mentioned with Dennis Schroeder. He's a name we've talked about for years, I think. Even before he was in OKC, I think we talked about Dennis Schroeder as a name that could come in and fit for the Mavericks. So coming up, let's get into Dennis Schroeder, have a larger conversation about his fit with the Mavericks. What would it possibly take to get him since he's not making that much money, how do you put a trade together for Dennis Schroeder? So let's talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built.com. This website is a company, and they make incredible bars. They're very good. As proof, I ate one today. We won't do ASMR because apparently people hate it.
Really? I do too, so I'm with you.
But this is a wrapper of a Built bar that I ate today. Coconut brownie chunk. They're absolutely delicious. Somebody DM'd me. One of our listeners DM'd me and said that they saw one in a store. An actual store. It piqued my interest. So maybe you'll be seeing your Built bars in stores. But for now, you can get them on the website, Built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. You'll get 15% off your entire order. They just brought back the raspberry cheesecake. You can check that out. Get yourself some coconut brownie chunk. I actually need some more coconut brownie chunk. So maybe I'll just add some to my cart right here and buy them while I'm doing the ad read. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They're absolutely delicious. Go check it out. Built.com. Again, the promo code LOCKED15 to get yourself some very tasty, very good protein bars for you. Check it out. Built.com.
Built.com.
All right, Isaac Harris. Dennis Schroeder is on the trade block right now for the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are having just this weird, disappointing season where they are 500 right now. And it seems like a miracle that they're 500, which is strange for them.
I got miracles.
Talk about a team that has the exact same roster for a while and is like still having a disappointing season. Like it feels like the Celtics and the Mavericks are in very similar situations in that whole thing. Maybe they should just switch Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis, and maybe it'll work out for both of them. Maybe they should just try that. I think that would work. I think that would work.
Ooh. So we're gonna talk about Dennis Schroeder, and I love Jaylen.
The Celtics would. The Celtics would not do that. The Celtics wouldn't do that.
I don't think they would. I'm going out on a limb there, saying that I don't think Boston would, but I like Jaylen Brown. There's another package out there.
Well, let's go back to Schroeder though. Dennis Schroeder has this weird 1-year deal. He's there for the Celtics. He's kind of starting. He's not starting at times. They're trying to figure out what to do with him. He's been out a little bit here and there, but he's still putting up numbers. 16 points a game, just about 4.5 assists. He's shooting 34% from three, which is just about his career average. He has shot better from three recently, but yeah, he's a creating, attacking point guard that you can put in. He can be a secondary type creator on a team. We saw him for that Thunder team be a really good complementary piece next to even Chris Paul, another ball dominant point guard that you can see that could really work out. Dennis Schroeder fits with the Mavs. Like he fits all the things we talked about, and I've mentioned him several times, like this stealth, as the stealth. I just fell asleep.
This keep going. We're having some video issues, but I'm wondering if it will translate for YouTube.
It looks pretty good on my end. So Isaac just if you're not watching on YouTube, Isaac just leaned back and just like his eyes closed, and it maybe froze on my screen, but it looked like you were asleep for a good like 15 seconds.
You froze a handful of times on my end. Okay.
But Dennis Schroeder, he fits as a guy that could be a secondary creator for the Mavericks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you said his stats. This is it. Am I still frozen now? But this is the type of player that when you look at the Mavs roster and we're like, all right, we go 9, 10 deep sometimes. What's a consolidation type of move? He makes such a low amount of money for Boston. What do they want? So let's just say it's consolidation. Sterling Brown, Ntilikina, and a second-round pick. Boston gets a little bit of depth.
Because they're going to lose him. They're going to lose him for nothing, right? Who else is going to?
That's the thing. It's like, one, why is Boston trading him? Like they're trying to make the playoffs. So if it's like a non-fit type of thing, then they get Ntilikina, Sterling Brown, some wing depth, a second-round pick out of it. For Dallas sitting there saying, all right, well, we're just going to throw Schroeder into the Jalen Brunson bench role. And our bench is going to, if Brunson's full-time starter, now the bench unit will be Schroeder, Reggie Bullock, Maxey, whoever else after that. And then therefore you're shrinking the rotation, right? You're consolidating 2-for-1, type of deal. Marquise Chris, then, could get that. Or maybe it's Willie, I don't know how low the value is, but could you do Willie in a second for Dennis Schroeder? And then Boston gets another center out of it. So like, that's the type of I'm just throwing hypothetical type of deals. It seems like his value is kind of low right now for Boston. Like I could be wrong. Once again, I don't think they're getting like a first round pick for Dennis Schroeder.
You could do Willie and Frank plus a pick.
Yeah, so like I'm down.
You could send a Moses Brown back in Willie.
I don't care to throw around second round picks. I know some people out there get all hung up over second rounders. Like, hey, let me know about AJ Hammonds, but that's So anyway, I think Dennis Schroeder is very possible. I think the role of what Dallas would want is very clear, and I think he would fit in Dallas coming off the bench.
Let's play a little
German
bit
connection too.
Let's have some fun and some hypotheticals. Let's say the Mavericks found out some way to get Myles Turner and Dennis Schroeder. They kept Luka, Porzingis, Jalen Brunson. Say they kept like Dorian too.
They better.
How's it change for this team? What is the ceiling? How's the ceiling change? How does the team change? Does the dynamics change? How does it change for the Mavs? Let's say they try to get both Turner and Dennis Schroeder.
I think it'd be better. I think I would put a little bit higher ceiling. I think everything would just hinge on, I would have to see Turner and KP together. Like how do they fit defensively? How are they switching? What does that look like? That's my only thing. But on paper, because you're pairing 2 7-footers. That's just not an easy task for any team. I mean, how many teams out there, really good teams, are pairing 2 7-footers together? Not very many. So that's my only thing, is I just have to see how it fits before I'd be like, all right, I think y'all could, be in the finals type thing.
They would obviously add more talent, right? It would add more talent. It would add the 2 things they need in a playmaker, and it would add a rim protector. Those are the 2 things Mavericks need, which is why they're attached to these 2 players in the first place, right? So it makes sense for those guys. So, and both of their values are pretty low right now. Dennis Schroeder's is really low right now because the Celtics are giving him up for reasons that they don't want to re-sign him this summer. So they're just going to lose him for nothing. So they just want to get something out of this whole thing because they're not going to get anything later down the road. Myles Turner, maybe a bidding war for him, may cost a little bit more than we expect.
I want to say this about Myles Turner. I wonder, so in Fisher's Dallas portion of this article, which once again, Bleacher Report, go read it. He puts in there, Rick Carlisle was known as Finney-Smith's biggest advocate in Dallas, sources said, and Indiana has been mentioned as a potential destination. Is Dorian a hang-up for Dallas to get Turner? Like, what if there's been a deal on the table already, and Indiana's like, we want Dorian Finney-Smith. We want him to be a starter next to Sabonis. Whoever else we get that center spot, we want to be a starter for us. Rick loves him. And what if Dallas is like, man, no, like, no, like, it is Dorian. I think that's a question for Mavs fans: is would Dorian be the hang up for you to get Myles Turner? And that's tough for me. Like, that's really tough because y'all know how much we love Dorian Finney-Smith. And in this article, it says teams are circling Dorian Finney-Smith as a strong trade candidate in Dallas because of it. He's going to be a free agent too, like Jalen Brunson and all of that.
So Turner makes $17 million. Dorian makes $4 million this year. And so you try to start a trade and you're like, okay, well, you got to put $13 more million into the trade. Maybe you throw Dwight Powell in there too, a Rick favorite as well. You still have to make up like a $2.5 million. So maybe you throw in, I mean, that's your Trey Burks, your Sterling Browns, your, Willie Cauley-Steins, those type of guys. Is Dwight, Dorian, and Willie like enough to get Myles Turner? I'm not sure. Can you throw in a pick there? And then all of a sudden, what's your team then? Your team is, Myles Turner and KP. Have to figure that out. And your wing depth does take a hit right there. Then you're relying on Reggie Bullock a lot. You're relying on Sterling Brown a lot to step into that role. You're asking Josh Green to do a lot more too and to step up into another role. So
yeah, that'd be
the interesting thing. I don't think it would be a hang up for me. I think I would rather have Turner than Dorian. As much as I love Dorian, I've talked about that. I would much rather have
I think I go the opposite. I don't think I would.
Really?
No, just because I think a wing defender is so much more important than having 2 7-footers.
Ooh, I think the opposite, because I think a really good an elite rim protector, which is what Myles Turner is better than having one wing defender. And Dorian's not like an elite wing defender. He's not like Ben Simmons, Draymond. He's not one of those guys. He's not Kawhi.
Yeah, but the moment you trade for Myles Turner, you're starting Myles Turner and Kristaps Porzingis. There's no way around
It's true.
That. So you're committed to the 2 7-footers in a league and in a playoffs that, I mean, we're talking switches, point guards,
if KP
everything.
Plays.
Yeah, but factoring that's one of the things. It's like, man, then you're elevating you're asking a lot of Josh Green then, and you're asking him to play up to his size too when they play, guys like Kawhi and Paul George. I don't think I would. I don't think I would if the call was Dorian, I don't think I would do it.
It's interesting. Let us know. Let us know in the comments what you think about Dorian
in that current construction
and Myles Turner.
If it was like a 3-team deal and you're getting back another like wing defender type, I just think wing defenders are like to go to commit to 2 7-footers and then to go down to say, all right, Josh Green, Reggie, Sterling Brown, you guys are like, you're the wing people now. So anyway.
It's interesting. There's a lot to consider in that for sure. Let us know in the comments what you think. The last thing here, Jake Fisher mentions teams are circling Dorian Finney-Smith as a strong trade candidate in Dallas. Also mentioned Jalen Brunson. Both these guys entering free agency.
Get away.
The financial squeeze on the Mavericks will likely be too significant to retain both. The Mavericks have not paid the tax since 2011, I believe. That's the last time the Mavericks actually paid the tax for a roster. And so teams around the league are looking at both those guys the same way we're looking at some of these other guys like Dennis Schroeder and others to say, hey, well, the Mavericks aren't going to pay these guys because they don't want to go into the tax just to keep this same roster that everybody's been complaining about. So,
and I think it might surprise people how much money Dorian could get this summer.
Yeah, we've seen wings make a ton. Remember that year that Alan Crabb made like $16 million a year?
Yeah, well, I mean, you go everybody just go to salaries on Hoops Hype for players and just start looking at guys, quality wing players. Look at a Doug McDermott making 13. Look at a Marcus Smart making 14, 15 a year. Like, we have become accustomed to seeing Dorian at a $4 million mark. Like, this dude's going to make over 10, maybe $15 million a year next year. Like that's not unrealistic to me.
It's a big thing for Nico Harrison and Mark Cuban to have to weigh, but we will be following it all. Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. We will be back covering all the games. Isaac's about to go on vacay. He's about to go and hang out for a while. So if you like me, this is a good time for you. If you're just listening for Isaac, this next week is probably not for you. We got Mavs play the Grizzlies on Friday night. They play the Magic on Saturday and then the Thunder on Monday. So a lot of big games coming up for the Mavericks to hopefully bounce back.
Good guests lined up too.
Good guests lined up for me, so we'll have a lot more people to hear from. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom!